I didn't want to make this video with the conventional ideas that you typically hear about whenever it talks about leaving your hometown, like reinvent yourself, pressure creates diamonds, meet new people because it's good for you. Not that those ideas are bad, it's just every video has them. Here's my unique take. It'll do one of two things. Make you realize that moving away was the right choice, or will help you realize that you need to leave your hometown soon. If you don't already know, grab your coffee. I'll give you time right now to go grab a coffee. Time. One of the best decisions I've made so far into my 20s, and I am 24, so that makes me 4 years old in adult years, was moving away from my hometown. I didn't go to college right out of high school, and so from 18-ish to 21, I actually worked. So in those 3 years, a void began to grow from inside me, and there's this pit in my stomach that would grow deeper with every year that passed. And I knew for a fact that I was capable of more. I just needed to execute. I had always wanted to leave my hometown, this rural, small town in the southeast. At this point, I'm 21 years old and I need to. There's no longer a choice anymore. I need to move or I would succumb to my own mind and feeble habits. I moved 3 hours away to a much more populated area, and this is where my story begins. Leaving your hometown teaches you to pivot. Back when I was working what seemed to be aimlessly in my hometown, every bad thing that happened elicited an even more negative reaction from me. Every deal was a big deal. I couldn't let things go, and I think that it was a reflection of my environment. So every opportunity that I could overreact to something, I did. Moving leaves you wide open for the opportunity to fail, and sometimes hard. This process of things not working out how you want them to, however, at least in a semi-controlled environment, it grows competency. You learn to become resourceful. And what I mean by resourceful is, see, I could never fathom paying rent at my previous job back home. It was outside what I could actually afford with my lack of skills and then my inconsistent hobbies as an artist, where I would sometimes sell art, but I wouldn't really do it because I didn't really want to monetize it, but I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to do all these things and I was inconsistent in them. I was working at a grocery store and I felt that like I never had the time to gain the skills necessary to make more money. Funnily enough, after I moved, a lot of those issues were fixed. And it's not that I make lots of money. I make more than I did back home, but I'm in a better place now. After moving and being forced to acclimate to the unforeseen circumstances that arose, I got my own place. I started working full time. I got a second job and I worked until I could finally go back to school to get those skills. I didn't even mention that I had to pivot initially because I started school when I first got here in 2020. Everything that I had no time for back home, I suddenly started making time for. That was the trick. Leaving your hometown grows competency and teaches you to pivot on the fly. Leaving your hometown also helps you gain perspective on who you are and where you're from. Lots of ideas, morals, and norms that we practice are due to our environment. We learn them. We're the products of our environment. Moving exposes that we have no original thoughts, and that makes us uncomfortable. It leaves us vulnerable. Good. Leaving your hometown gives you perspective. You can now see your environment from a bird's eye view rather than the ant.
I can see! I can see! I have legs!
Mona Lisa certainly couldn't admire herself, and algebra can't rationalize its own equations. Moving away pulled back the veil for me on the stereotypes about where I was from, the environment I grew up in, and the likelihood of my success statistically had I stayed there.
Time to have a look at your face. Take off your mask.
Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with the people from your hometown, but for lots of us, there's not enough change occurring in our hometowns that stimulate us to grow and places us into that level of complexity that forces us to grow. What I now know at 24 about what was wrong with how I grew up, what was good about how I was raised, and what I can critique as an adult came as a result of me gaining a new perspective, and all that came from moving. Sometimes our next move is to break the fourth wall, to take ourselves out of the picture in order to gain perspective. When you leave your hometown, please be reasonable. Rome wasn't built in a day, and evolution didn't happen, obviously, overnight. It all took effort and time.
Change is good.
Yeah, but it's not easy.
Point being, rushing progress and change leads to, you guessed it, rushed results. Don't be so quick to show everyone like, hey, I did it. I moved. I'm different. I'm better than y'all. I did the impossible. Because it's really, really, really quick to fall right back to where you came from. It hurts when you move out of order and have to readjust due to impatience. Ask me how I know that. Be disciplined, use discernment, and be patient. I rushed going to school when I initially got here. I took on a full course load even though I was working full time at a factory. 3 months into the semester, I dropped my classes, I withdrew from some classes, and I failed one. That poor decision making and gross overestimation of my capability to complete the assignments while working full time costs me to this day. I'm still suffering from the consequences of being impatient. That's called chaos.
Chaos. Anarchy. Now that's fun.
There's a fine line between complexity and chaos. Chaos is random, uncontrolled, it's untamed, and doesn't have recognizable patterns that can be measured. It's where people leave with scars and trauma if they manage to leave. Complexity is difficult, but it's where you grow, where you recalculate if you have to. It makes you cry, and there's several nights where I have. There's still some nights when I do. But you dry your face, you readjust in the morning, and you keep working at it until you get it right, and you eventually do. You leave a newer, more refined version of yourself. It's a necessary growing pain. It's all worth it in the end. Enter into complexity over chaos. Last but not least, I'm gonna go off script for this one. You may have heard this before in other videos, but I'm just gonna say it because it's the realest thing that I've seen coming from where I come from, around the people that have the type of minds that they have. You don't know what you don't know. And I'm having a one-on-one right now. I'm big homie. I'm talking to you like you're my friend. I can be little homie. I don't care what you think. You don't know what you don't know. There were so many preconceived notions and limiting beliefs that were put into my head about so many things from people that didn't know it because they didn't do it. Don't take advice from people that didn't do what you're trying to do. Go out there and do it. You have to do it first. You can gain all the information, all the conversations, all the Google searches and the YouTube searches that you want. Watching this video will not help you. You have to go and do it. I'm off the script right now. There's no other way that you're going to gain the experience and the competency needed to actually endure what you're trying to do until you do it. That is the only way you're going to make it through. One foot in front of the other one. And you figure it out along the way. Yes, you can plan. Yes, save up money before you move. Figure out what amount is right for you. Get it and get the fuck out. YouTube lets you cuss at least once. I get so passionate about it because I had to see it for myself. You don't know what you don't know. You just have to take the first step and just do it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with somebody that you know and you care about. And if you're thinking about leaving your hometown, always feel free to message me on any of my socials and I'll talk to you. They're down in the description box. I'm Devontae, and I'm out.